Hi guys, I'm JOURN and this is another Dragonheir Silence God video. Guys, in today's video we're going to take on another one of the bosses for the Halo event, one of the chief challenge that the game had put upon us for the second month of the game in Season 2. And the champion and the boss in question is JOURN or JOURN, depending on the pronunciation, is a champion that we can play in the game in parts of the fire affinity. And here is a boss. And he takes more damage from the Radiant Affinity champions. Now, if you play the champions, you know him, and if you don't have him, maybe it's useful to do have a look at the skills and understand how the champion work. But just to let you know, this boss is a pain in the butt. It hits really hard, it's almost impossible to speed tune, or at least I haven't found a way to do that. I got close to it, but it's not perfect. And if anything goes wrong, the run basically failed, and I haven't yet been able to push this run to the 22 million. I had to settle for 11 million. But the interesting part, before you skip my video because it's not 22 million with all rares and rare gear, it's that I'm using a rare champion that basically make my life much easier on this fight, and possibly will make your life easier as well, pushing the extra damage to get to your target, being 3 million, 7 million, 11 million, whatever is your target for this fight. It might help you see this comp that I've been using and this champion I've been using, and to push your results a bit better. So I can't really show you the comp straight away and the run while I'm talking. I'm gonna put a video up of the recording of the runs that I've recorded the results. But we can jump into the boss and we can have a look at the skills. So if everybody is on the same page and we all understand the mechanic of this boss. Basically, he's going to use his A1 twice every 6 seconds and his ultimate after 6 seconds as well. So it should be a rotation of 18 seconds. His A1 basically spray flame that burns enemy within range 5 times, each dealing fire damage with a 50% chance of inflicting attack penalty. The flame also backfire on him and deal fire damage on himself. This is very important because it comes in place when in combination with his passive, and in particular with the second part, because the first part where he takes 30% less damage from fire enemies, it's not happening over here. But when hitting, when the hero takes fire damage, which he does to himself on his A1, there is a 30% chance of recharging his ultimate energy and the surrounding ally, there's no ally over here, by 10%. And also grant defense up 2 on the hero. Now, there's only a 30%, but it hitting 5 times, so basically it's gonna happen every single time. It's quite crazy because the speed tuning with this ability, it's almost impossible. You never know if you get many times the speed boost or if it doesn't happen at all. I've tried many speed tuning, because I like to do that. I like to create a comp that can work automatically and stay in line with the speed tune with the boss. Here is almost impossible. I had to run the same comps we're going to see in a minute a few times to get the run where nothing happens out of sync. But nevertheless, let's have a look at the ultimate. And his ultimate basically hits on a diamond shape, and the enemy within range reduce their ultimate by 25% with a 75% chance of dispelling all their buff. Now, this is important to understand that we're going to need to trick this ability, because if it hits any of our squishy DPS, the run is over. There is no coming back. If it doesn't have the decreased attack on him, if it hits anyone that is not a tank, or the trick we're going to use here, basically is gonna demolish any champions, especially when he starts stacking up his damage and in the second part of the fight. So let me jump quickly into the camp and into the sparring pit so I can show you the composition, the gear, the timing, everything that is related to this comp. And here we go. This is my comp and I can show you the placement. We're gonna have to have our tank Garius on front over here, our 2 DPS on this side, and then we're gonna use Catherine and Gulal on this side over here. What is going to happen is that Garius is gonna run in this position just next to the boss, and Gulal the secret of this fight is gonna summon his Raven. That is gonna basically trigger the boss ultimate to hit only on the front side, and is gonna hit Garius and the Raven. Nobody else is gonna be hit. The problem here for me to get to 22 million is to get enough damage in the time of the fight. I get all the way, basically, Garius die only at 30 seconds to the end, and I'm not still close to do 22 million. So even if it goes 30 seconds longer, it will make no difference to me. And that's why I've saved the fight, because I don't think that in this week, in the days that are left for this fight, I'm going to be able to push it much farther than what I'm doing. I prefer focusing on another comp and work on that. But nevertheless, let's have a look at the gear and I'll show you the timing as well. So let's start from the tank, which is probably the most important one. I've built Garius with the Scarab Amulet. It comes very handy at the end of the fight when the boss starts hitting hard. He puts his shields on himself and it keeps him alive 1 or 2 extra turns, and that's very important. Garius here brings the increased defense or defense aura, and I built him with the protection set just because I want him to take less damage and push his defense quite high so the heals come back and he heals to himself to the max. I've given him some resistance because I want him to try to resist the debuff removal and the ultimate energy depletion, because I need his heals to come back as soon as possible, basically. The next champion up is going to be Catherine. Catherine, it's built with the Uncensored Candle. I'm trying to get her back to her ability quick. I need her to heal as quick as possible. She has the Mona Lisa set, and I've pushed a little bit of skill haste. She has some resistance. The theory was that I didn't want her to get hit, but if she get hit, I don't want her to lose her buff, and I don't want her to lose her ultimate energy. This is not really needed. You can probably build her more for healing. Seems to work for me, so I'll show you what I've done so far. The next champions up is going to be Gulal, and now this build is a bit more difficult. I had him built with as much skill haste as possible, basically, and I'm trying to push his ultimate to cycle as fast as possible, because you're gonna see with the timing on his ultimate need to be very, very low. I have him with the incense burner. I don't have the hourglass, so I can't use that. A crazy legendary artifact, and the closest you can get is basically this one. You give you the accuracy. You're gonna need the accuracy to place the decrease attack on the boss, and it also basically gonna speed up of 10% your recharging time of your ultimate. I'm using 2 pieces of the Mona Lisa set for the skill haste and 2 pieces of the Zero set for the skill haste as well. I've built his accuracy up enough to place the decrease attack, and that's pretty much everything I'm expecting from this champion at this point. You just need to summon the Raven and place the decrease attack at the right time to trigger the boss ultimate on the front line and not to anybody else. But you're gonna see this in the video in a moment. And then I'm bringing 2 damage dealer. Basically, I'm gonna bring 2 rally damage dealer over here. I built Tathlane to enable basically Huber to do damage. So he has the Zero set and the Crown Onion Clean. It's built basically to place the decreased defense, and when you place the decreased defense, he's gonna place the increased attack on Huber, hopefully giving him rally as well. And so Huber is gonna basically able to fire off his ultimate and do crazy damage. Huber is built with the Eye of the Giant to try to basically get as much damage as possible on his ultimate. And I've built him with the Inventor. I've tried to use the Gambler set. The damage output, it's lower than the Inventor set. I don't know if there is something wrong with the coding. In theory, if you trigger max HP, you should do more damage over here on these bosses, but it doesn't seem to work for me. Possibly it's because my Inventor gear is better. I've been lacking on that side. I don't have crazy good Gambler, but nevertheless, the damage is not even close. He has as much crit rate as possible. I push his crit damage, I push his attack up, and I'm trying to basically get him to do as much damage as possible. Now, I'm gonna put in the background the run. You're gonna see basically how it works, and you're gonna see that basically I need to get the Raven to get to the boss just before his ultimate. So he triggers the ultimate only on the Raven and on Garius. And this is basically done by using this timing that you see now on the screen. Basically, I'm using Gulal at 15.2 seconds with a recharge time of 17 seconds. Now, the boss in theory has 18 seconds. Basically, this is the combination that for me has worked better. If the boss doesn't get any boost of his ultimate, the ultimate is still gonna happen a little bit earlier than what it's supposed to be, but in time just enough to get the Raven out. If the boss gets Terminator boost, with this timing, I'm still able to get it out just before his ultimate, unless he boosts his Terminator too much for too many turns in a row. At that point, basically, his ultimate will be so short, below the 17 seconds, and there is not really much way to keep it up in time, and you're gonna have to stop the run and redo it. Now, as you can see in the background, the fight goes pretty much all the way. We're getting almost to the end of the turns, and I'm getting just above 11 million, which is a bit of a PT because I'm happy to find these tricks when I can trigger the AI to do what I want and not what the boss prefer to do. But as I said in the beginning of the video, we now know that we can trigger his AI to hit only on front using some summons. I am curious to try a summoning team over here because I know that it takes more damage from the Radiant, but maybe there is a way to use some crazy good summon champions over here to do a lot of damage on the front. He's gonna always hit the champions in the front line, keeping the rest of the champion on the back free to do what they want. So that could be curious as well. He doesn't move even after he kills your tank. So if he brings just summoning on the front line, could be interesting to see what it does. I haven't tested that yet, so I'm not sure it will work exactly as I'm expecting. But as you can see from what I've tested over here, the Raven is enough to trigger his AI to hit the front line. And I hope that this little trick with a champion that usually is not used as much will help you get to the next line, to get to the next level of damage you need, being 3 million, 7 million, or 11 or 22, whatever you are fighting for. This is everything for the video today, guys. I hope you enjoy it. And if you did, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm trying to push the channel to 1,000 subscribers. It's not been a long run so far. I mean, I've been doing content for only 3 months and we are on the last 400 subscriber missing, and I really hope to get there soon. So please consider doing so, and it will help the channel grow and me getting on with this adventure. And I see you soon, guys, with another video about Dragonheir Silence God.